Nithari, a name that will reverberate amongst all the people who are especially from Gen X or who are millennials. It was the time of 2005 and 2006 when the name of Nithari was the top of news headlines. A very small locality in Noida, but it came to the news for all the wrong reasons and probably made the weirdest, made the most shocking story of this entire century. Today, a massive development has happened in this entire story. The two accused in this matter, Surendra Kohli and Moninder Singh, both of them have now been acquitted by the Allahabad court. The Allahabad court in its initial statements have very clearly stated that due to the lack of evidences, the court refuses to give them the capital punishment which was given to them by the CBI court, and in fact out of the 18 matters that were registered against both of them, 12 of them against the cook Surendra Kohli, whereas 6 matters were registered against Moninder Singh. In all these matters, especially the 12 matters that were against Surendra Kohli, he has been acquitted and he has been allowed to go out of the jail cells, whereas Moninder Singh, who was actually involved in 6 cases, whose name was mentioned in 6 FIRs, out of that, in 2 cases, he has been acquitted. Now, the 12 cases and this 2 cases, all these cases were of capital punishment, which was given to them by the CBI court. Now, it was the year 2005 and 6. If you remember, many of our viewers would actually know that the name of Nithari was the top headlines for several months together, because the kind of case that had come up, that has definitely shook the conscience of the entire nation and each and every news viewer, each and every resident of the country, and especially of the area of the national capital where this incident had happened. The case was pertaining to actually initially kidnapping, raping, killing and then eating the flesh of these kids who were initially kidnapped by the flat owner, that is Moninder Singh, whereas his cook Surendra Kohli was the person who used to cook these kids for his employer, is what the CBI had said in its statement. Now remember, how did the case open? It was during the year of 2005 that initially it was the locals in that area recovered some sort of bones and flesh and clothes from a nearby drain. Post that, when the complaint was registered, this entire nexus was actually unearthed, where several kids, be it girls, be it boys, all of them were initially kidnapped. These belongs to the most backward sections of a society. These kids were initially kidnapped, then they were sodomized in some cases, and after that they were killed and then they were eaten by both of them, is what the accusation was. Initially, this complaint was registered by the Noida police. Post this, seeing the severity of this entire matter, this case was transferred to the Central Bureau of Investigation. Now, the Central Bureau of Investigation carried out a thorough investigation in this entire matter, post which the CBI court actually gave both of them the capital punishment. For Surendra Kohli, the capital punishment was at least in 12 cases, whereas for Moninder Singh, the capital punishment was at least in 2 cases, whereas in other 4 cases he was awarded life imprisonment. Now, post that, they have been fighting this case, both these accused have been fighting this case in Allahabad High Court. Now, the Allahabad High Court finally came out with the decision today, in which they have come out and stated very, very clearly that both these accused should be acquitted because there is lack of evidence. Yet again it raises questions on our judiciary and our investigating agencies, that how were we not able to prove that these 2 people who were not only sick but also had a very, very corrupt and very, very abnormal mind, because they used to kidnap, kill and eat, sodomize kids of that area. This is something that was one of the most shocking case of this entire century that we have seen. And today, these people getting out, being acquitted of all the charges, definitely is a massive, massive setback for all these parents who have been fighting this war for justice over the last many decades, at least 17 years since this incident has come to light. And after 17 years, the parents of all these kids who were hoping to get justice in some way or the other, as both these accused would have been hanged, and that would have given some sort of peace, that would have given us some sort of reasonable peace to the families, to the families of all these victims who lost their young children to this abnormal set of people. But yes, the decision that has come up from the Allahabad court is definitely a massive setback for all these family members who were hoping that yes, they might get some sort of peace because their loved one, their kids, are no longer with them. It was this person who not only brutalized them but also ate them and posed that through their remains in the nearby drain. One of the most shocking incidents of this century, and probably one of the most should I say shocking, or should I say incompetent investigation that we have seen from our agencies, that they were not able to prove the guilt of both these accused in front of the Allahabad High Court, post which we have seen today that both these accused have been allowed, have been acquitted, and they'll be moving out of the jail very soon. Now what remains to be seen, if at all our investigating agencies would actually challenge this decision given by the Allahabad court in the higher courts, that is the Supreme Court, or will the parents of these kids actually sit back, because it has been more than 17-18 years since they have been fighting this war to get justice. Justice has not been given to them. Justice has not been delivered to them. But yes, as it is a very old proverb, very old saying, that justice delayed is justice denied. So has justice been denied to all the family members of the kids whose kids were killed by these monsters and were eaten by these monsters?